Hey everyone, welcome to State of the Game 157. My name's Hamish. I'm just still trying to figure out a couple of little issues. I will have Chris on audio. I just need to add him to a couple of visual things before we get him on. But I hope everyone's doing good today. You're gonna hear the voice of Chris. Let's just double check that that's all happening. You there, Chris?
I am here. Hi, how are you doing, guys? And how are you, Hamish?
I'm doing good. It's been an interesting time working from home. All right, I do have your beautiful face. Let's take a look. There he is. Whew, we did it. All right.
We're so good at this.
The joys of working from home. Sorry, my technology isn't as robust as some things, but we made it work.
I mean, that's what I was suggesting in chat, just like buy equipment now, and just upgrade everything. And I mean, that's obviously a valid suggestion, right? Like you just spend the 10,000 and then it just arrives here through a portal and then you just set it up.
There you go. I will say this, and it's no excuse, like I always want things to go smoothly and better and all that sort of thing. It is the danger of doing stuff live, right? Like I always feel a little bit vindicated when I see things go wrong on BBC and CNN, and even those folks sometimes struggle. All right, no one really cares. So let's get into the other stuff. Chris, from what you're telling me, this one's going to be probably a kind of short one today.
Yes.
All right.
I mean, also like just as an intro, maybe like we are working and we are continuing to work on things, but that means that in between some of these State of the Games, we'll just have less concrete information because we have to wait for build validation and things that are happening. So we'll have to see. I think today will be a little bit shorter, but then next week will be a little bit longer. I also just want to say it up front because I've seen people like, oh, they're not going to talk about the raid. That is correct. We don't have any information about the raid yet. My goal is to give you at least 2 weeks of a heads up, so you'll have plenty of time to look at getting ready for the raid and all that stuff. And additionally, as we talked about last week, and I just want to point that out again, TU10 or whatever it's going to be called, that will bring the raid, or that. No, sorry, that was the wrong way to use this. TU10, when we look at the holistic balance changes, might be the time that we also bring in the raid. But if TU10, for example, takes us more time because the changes have to be tested and you guys may be able to test them earlier or not test them earlier, all of these things obviously have an impact. We learned from TU, I think, 3 when we introduced Operation Dark Hours, where there were a lot of changes in that specific patch and the raid went live. And then we also heard that wasn't great because if you were not playing for a while, you didn't know what was going on and all that stuff. So for this, we really want to make sure that you give you enough of the heads up. And if there are a bunch of balance changes, and that is currently the plan for the next big title update, it will be giving you enough head start as well, so that okay, I have to adjust. I have to maybe get a new build for specific things, or I'm going to try out skill builds or something like that. So we will not hide anything on the release date, and we will give you as much time as we can. That also means that at some points we just will not talk about the raid, like today.
Okay. Good to know. The first thing I want to talk about, and I saw a question pop up in chat, connectivity issues. Someone was mentioning a lot of deltas and that sort of thing. What's happening there?
Yeah, it's a really odd issue. We have been doing a lot of investigation last week already when this started first happening. There's also 2 different issues. So I want to say actually 3 different issues. So one issue is with the Asia Pacific region, so Japan and Asia and like other areas and around there, or if you get, for example, routed to that area, there's a bunch of foxtrots and deltas that are specific to that region. From our internal tools and metrics, it looks like these foxtrot errors have gone down quite significantly after the changes we did yesterday, some backend changes. So that's good. That being said, we're still seeing a lot of deltas in general. So not only in that APEC region, how we call it, but also in Europe and North America and all that stuff. So we're looking into these. Unfortunately, we are currently struggling to figure out what the underlying cause is. So we did some backend changes yesterday, as I said, to alleviate that. I know that there are still people that have the same issue. And then the third issue is that we're seeing people saying that they have issues with the raid. So when they try to do raid matchmaking, or for like the easier mode, or just matchmake with their group, they're just kicked out. So those are the 3 areas that we're looking into at the moment. Again, unfortunately, they're not easy, and I know that sounds like an excuse, but the investigation for us always has to lead to a point where we can fix something that is underlying that it's the underlying cause, and that hasn't been found yet. So we'll continue working. So far, I know that it's been very frustrating for some people. I know that some other people can play, but for us, it's currently the highest priority as well.
Okay, good to know. The so there's a TU9.1 slated for some time. Can you give us any update on what's happening there?
Yeah, so TU9.1 is what we call it internally, and I know that for players it's sometimes confusing what is a server maintenance patch, because we changed some things yesterday, for example, as well. What is TU9.1? And I know that a lot of people that are watching completely know what's happening, but I just want to explain it for those that might not be watching every week. So a client update means that we're changing, whether we're able to change more than with a server update. So server update is what we can do during a maintenance, for example. A client update means that we can do more things. We can update the UI, for example. We can update the world. We can update more things that are impacted by changes. So that allows us to, for example, look at things like the Dark Zone FPS drops that are still currently happening and hopefully change them. So 9.1 will be, it's currently targeted for May. It might be mid-May, it might be a little bit later, depending on how the tests are going. But this will be the client update that is coming.
Okay, that's good to know. And do you have any idea of when we'll know a date? Is that something that maybe next week we'll have a clear idea of?
Yeah, exactly. I think next week we'll be have been going through the list of the changes that we're currently testing. They should be then approved and go into a data lock, which basically means that nothing else can change. It should be next week, so maybe onset of the game next week we can talk about all of the changes. I can give you a little bit of a preview of what we're talking about for 9.1. So one of the things that I have seen from Mackenzie, for example, is we're looking at NPC aggressiveness, at NPC target accuracy, at grenades flying around and hitting you all the time, so accuracy there as well. Some of these things. So that's not only bug fixes, but also some adjustments that are coming from player feedback. As soon as we have verified these fixes and have tested them internally, I'm going to go through them next week, if that's the time. And then you'll get exact details on what we're changing. And then additionally, I just have a list in front of me of what we're currently testing is, again, the FPS drops in the Dark Zone. We have a first attempt on fixing this for 9.1 as well. And then we also look at some of the things that people have been reporting. For example, the Warhound convoy. We are not considering this an exploit right now. It is tuned to generous at this point. So if you are doing it over and over again, it gives you a lot of XP. This is due to the setup of the Warhounds and how they spawn, and that there's only one spawn location. So that's also something that we're going to look in for this patch. That being said, we're currently already discussing around like how this is going to be changed, and if there's no manholds or different manholds or whatever. And these discussions and how these fixes actually work is what we're discussing now for 9.1, and we have to see if we can fix it for May or if that is something that is coming later.
Cool. All right. Sorry, my cat was just scratching at the door. I just need to deal with that for like 1 second, but I'm still listening because I got my headphones on. You can keep going.
That's okay. I can continue talking about this. So yeah, like we had the strategy to give you insights on the bug fixes and balance changes as well as soon as we have them. Again, we want to be a little bit careful with this patch because it is a client update, so it needs more work. That doesn't mean, for example, that we're not having an update next week. So during the normal maintenance window on Tuesday, if we have some server fixes ready, we'll deploy them and make sure that we have more things going out instead of just doing a maintenance for the servers. And again, I think next week we should have a date for it for 9.1, and then we can also look at the changes that have been verified.
Okay, cool. I don't see it on my list, but I do want to know how you feel about it. I've gotten a lot of questions on Twitter, and I see it in chat, about the Warhound experience stuff. Are you, sorry to put you on the spot, but do you have any information about that?
You didn't listen to me because I just talked about it, but it's fine.
I was sorry, dealing with cat. I literally just saw it pop up.
No, I can reiterate because it's been a topic that people have been talking about. So we're currently not considering this an exploit. It is it's too generous, right? Like it just gives too much XP for what you have to do. And I'm not saying this because we're the fun police and this gives too much XP, but we're comparing this like if you spend this much time on something that you really like to do, it should give you the same XP, kind of right? Because this, from the videos that I've seen and from the testing that I've done as well, this is boring as heck. Like this is like super not interesting to play.
Yeah.
So if this gives you the best XP, that's not great, right? So we just want to adjust this. Again, it will likely not be adjustment on the XP. I can't say if there not will be any changes on that as well. But what we're going to do is just make it not spawn from those manholes over and over again. If you do it right, there will just be probably, and again, this might change, different spawn locations for these. So it's not as simple as you do it now. But again, we don't consider it an exploit. You're just playing the activity. It's just not working very well.
Good. Cool. Good to know. Sorry for Cat derailing me.
You're
she's
okay.
freaking out and she wants to get back in. I don't know what to do with
Pets,
these crazy animals, man. Okay, so we mentioned it last week, but there's if you log in before May 5th, we still have the backpack trophy. Actually, I'm going to show it because it's always nicer to see things than anything else. So 3 apparel caches will show up for you if you log in before May 5th. So you got another week to do that. The soda backpack trophy is there as well, which is cute. So don't be confused if you are like, where did I get this from? That's just because you were good and logged in. So if you haven't logged in, you may as well do that now before May 5th. I would recommend, because free stuff is always nice. I like that. All right. We wanted to talk about the leagues today because there's a new one just started.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the league this time around?
Yeah, I just want to again reiterate. Obviously, we're giving you an update that a lot of people might know already, but we're in season 1 Shadowtide. So the current event is the league. It's the home league. It also is the first league that has events in New York, which I think is going to be exciting for a lot of people that were doing Washington all the time at the moment. It's working as the same league as before, so it runs for 2 weeks. It has ultimately 60 stages that you can complete either in the first week by just being a boss and doing everything, or you can split it up in 2 weeks. So you don't have to rush everything through in the first week. You do have 2 weeks to get those 60 change. And
sorry about that. The audio cut out for a second, but we got you back.
Okay. No sound, they say.
Yeah. No, it was just a setting that's my bad. Sorry, everyone.
That's okay.
Yeah, we got you back.
That's fine.
Okay. I think we only missed you for about 10 seconds.
Cool. Yeah, so again, I just did TLDRs. There's a league. It runs for 2 weeks, 60 ranks. The reward is, I think you all have the rewards as well, which are kind of cool. At least I think so.
Yeah, I'm into it. I do have the rewards here. Let's take a look at those. And now this time, the sound will stay. I'm sure of it.
Hooray!
Because I fixed it. We can still hear you. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there we go. All right, so anything new here? I see the Lady Liberty backpack trophy.
Exactly.
It's cute.
And then also another exotic cache. I think that is interesting. Now that we also have the exotic reconfiguration is in, you can also get exotic materials if you don't like the exotic that you're getting out of the cache. So I think that's another way to get that. I know people have been farming exotics to update their eagle bearer or something like that, or whatever else you're playing with. And I like the cache because it's also like something that is somewhat of a goal to just achieve in the 2 weeks. And I like those aspirational things where I'm like, if I do these things for the next couple of days, I can get this guaranteed. So I think that's also something that a lot of people like.
Nice. We also, if you haven't logged in for a while, you may not have noticed that there's a new Manhunt target that is available now. I know there's still see it. There's still some confusion on that. Some people think they missed out on the first 2. That's not the case. You can still access everything from beforehand. We have one more after this before we get to the prime target. That's going to be new because we've talked about it before, but I think people have forgotten that there will be a new skill mod attached to that. So, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I'm excited. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah. I think also on the Manhunt in general, because I've seen some question on like how do you do them and like what is the difficulty. So one change that might have gone unnoticed is that you can do most of the Manhunt now in normal. So if you set your global difficulty to normal, you can do most of the control points and bounties and all that stuff. The bounty for the target itself is on challenging though. So you just have to remember that. But I've seen some people saying like, oh, I'm struggling with some of the challenges. You can also put the challenges down, I think, even to story mode, if I'm not mistaken. So some of the things, like if you're struggling to finish some of the challenges, you can speed run them as well. But then the missions themselves, they are still on challenging or heroic, but it says so in the time trial as well. So you should have all the information. But I know that some people were struggling with challenging on the open world, so that's not necessary for a couple of the activities.
Yep. I see a lot of questions about PvP. We did mention last week that there will be some things addressed for TU10. We don't have any news on that today, but as we get closer, like someone saying, bring Bruce back so we can get some information about stuff, we will. So Bruce will definitely be back on, or other people from the game design team in future shows to talk about what's happening in the next big update as it pertains to those things, not just PvP, but also general balancing and that sort of stuff. So sorry that we don't have news for that today for you, because we know that PvP isn't in the best state right now. So we will share information with you as soon as we can, but not today.
Yeah, I think it's also important on that topic in general. Like that's what Bruce said, I think, very well on the holistic approach. Like we made some decisions on changes that were, I think, just too quick, and then we didn't really. We just wanted to make a change because we saw issues, and I think now, and I know that is frustrating for some people, that it will take a little bit longer. I do believe that the team also has more time to look at them in a way that makes a lot of more sense, and then also gives us the chance to look at like how does this affect PvP, how does this affect PvE. Do we have to do like changes that are different from each other, like we've done now with the M1A, for example? And I know that we always want to give you as much news as we can, but we will have some of these shows that are just a little less full of details because they're just still putting their heads together and figuring things out.
Yeah, I think the all-time record for shortest state of the game, Peta did it in 5 minutes one time during Division 1. So we've had some quick ones. It's just the nature of the beast, right? Like.
Yeah.
I think it's still important. I think in times like this, it's important to remember that there'll be times when we don't have information, like Chris says, but I'd still rather do the show and be able to tell people that than have like this void where people are like confused. I don't know. Maybe it's just personal preference. I can see the argument for not having it at all, but I don't know. I still think it's worth showing up, at least so we can listen, because I can see what people want to talk about. That doesn't mean we have.
Yeah, I think it's also like, like when we're not here, the expectations or the rumors also start around like, oh, they're not there, so that means the week afterwards they're going to announce the raid and all these things. Like, I'd rather have the information out, and if it's a little bit disappointing for some people, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
D. Miller says they don't know anything. Facts. We know less than we probably would like to. That is true. I'm dumb. I'm incredibly stupid. But that's just a separate thing. Chris, you meant to disagree.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't. I'm just kidding.
You're not really stupid.
Well, I wanted to agree because like I don't know any of these things, right? Like I just take information that is given to me, put them in nicer words, and then present them to you. Like I'm not involved in making the game, so I might be stupid for some people. Yeah.
True facts. All right. Anything else you want to address before we move on to celebrating the awesome stuff that our community are doing, Chris? Or is this very much, we'll see you next week and hopefully we have some more information?
So I think one thing that I want to mention as well is that we will still do updates after 9.1 is coming out. So if there's time between 9.1 and the big update, let's call it TU10, there might be another one. So don't believe that just because 9.1 is happening that the next one will have all of the balance changes and the raid and whatever else you're expecting. There might be more coming. And the current environment, again, working from home and all that stuff, might change some things. I also know that some people were talking about PTS and letting people test the changes and whatever. We're looking into that as well. I said we would like to do some because people really believe that they can find these bugs and earlier. Again, that puts a lot of work on us as well, additionally to what we're doing. So to, like, just be blunt, like, we have to do another build for that specifically. It has to work. It has to be rolled out. It has to be tested by players. And then we have to come back, make changes on that and do another build, have that certified as well for all platforms and all that stuff. So there's a lot of work, in those details that look like a PTS server to be flipped on, Monday to Tuesday or something like that. It's not the case. It's a lot of work. So we can't promise anything right now, but we've heard you. We're, again, very much aware that the game is not in a good state on a bunch of topics. And we continue to work on these. And the team here, again, is very dedicated to make those things happen. But I appreciate everybody reaching out, saying, like, we understand that you're in a similar situation as us, being at home and doing things. That doesn't mean that I want to, say that nobody can be frustrated or angry or whatever. That's totally understandable.
No, it's totally
but I also appreciate
warranted.
the positivity.
Yeah, I see Inc3 saying PTS is a lot of work, but the game needs a lot of work. We agree. Like, we're 100% on the same page. It's just complicated.
That's why I'm also bringing up. Like, if I hadn't said, like, we want to do a PTS, I wouldn't have said that, right? But it's not only in Hamish's and my hand to say, like, oh, we're going to do this, because there's a bunch of resources that have to be devoted to that as well. And sometimes that means that then other fixes are not going in, or other things that are planned are not going in. And I don't think there's anybody in the world that can make the decision on their own, saying, like, this is the priority for everybody. So just understand that as well.
I volunteer myself as tribute, Chris. I don't mind making this decision. I'm just going to get my cat because she's going crazy.
Yes. What about an ETF? So I think ETF has been very good for us. It really influenced as well what we're doing. We also still have ETF members on a Discord, so we still talk to them on a daily basis. They give us a lot of feedback as well. An in-person ETF obviously is currently impossible. Maybe we want to do something in the digital format, but I see some struggles with that as well. Just based on, like, how much impact can that have in the time frame that we have right now. It's always been the case that we try to have, like, several months before an update comes out to have an ETF, because otherwise it's like they fly in, we show them the changes, and then we make the changes happen because there's not enough time to make any adjustments, right? So there's discussions around that. I think there's also some feeling in the community that ETF is very exclusive, and we've seen Joker on Reddit, for example, has put up a huge thread. We're seeing people on the forums posting a lot of things, so there is information out there, and I think that gives us a good direction as well. And I think we're in a good spot in terms of how much we're actually seeing right now is great. Like, we have a lot of people playing, we have a lot of internal data, but then there's also lots and lots and lots of feedback threads. There's YouTube videos. I'm getting pinged every day, I don't know, like 100 times with new things. So I think from at this point, we don't have too little feedback or too little community approach. It's more that we have to find ways to make those things happen.
Yep. Well said. I want to move on to some of the awesome things that the community are doing. That doesn't mean we're not still looking at chat. If we do have something that we can talk about, we will let you know. But I did see some super cool stuff. We have some follow-ups from last week, actually. And I'll just bring up this one from Ufa in India. I had a look on the Twitter, and it looks to be an account based in Japan, but doing more of the clay modeling stuff. Thank you very much for continuing to send us awesome pictures of cool clay modeling. I think it's cute.
That's Tommy.
Chris, I know, it's adorable. Tommy's going rabid.
He's equipping, like he wants to go into battle as well.
Yes, exactly. He's going for gold. And then one of our regulars, Lara Necro, getting into some more. Like, Lara's been a stalwart of the Division community for a long time. Like, Division 1, been doing Photoshop stuff for a very long time. This is Lara at her best. I've never seen anything this awesome. Like, this is super cool. I think it's like mega cool quality, and you should apply for a job at Massive. I'm not kidding.
I said that every week, but we're seeing so much creativity right now because people have the time to put these in. But then there's that extra layer, that extra step of people that are so awesome and making these things even more special, and I'm just blown away. And I know that we say that like this should be put on a wall or something. But like what you just said, I think is even better. Like if you have this talent, try to get into gaming or in anything that uses that art, because you would blow away a lot of people with these things in a game.
Yep. Mad skills. Wish I had them. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Now I feel woefully inadequate. We should go cry in a corner, Chris, and call it a day. No, but thank you everyone for coming by the stream. We've actually been around longer than I expected today. Almost our usual half hour. Gilla TV is asking, where is the second raid? We don't have any information on the raid today for you. When we have that information, we're going to do something cool with it and make sure that we get to celebrate all of the cool new info with you very soon. Anything else in chat jump out to you, Chris?
Yeah, I think also seen some disconnect stuff. We talked about this at the beginning of the game. So we have the stream. So we have three situations right now where we have one for the Asian servers or Asian regions that we're looking into. That seems to have been getting better with the changes yesterday. We're still seeing disconnects and deltas and some foxtrots in other regions. We're looking into the cause of those. And then the third one is the raid where people can't either matchmake or get kicked out. So those are the three areas that are currently investigated by our teams here. And we'll get you an update once we have it. We have a thread on the forums that we're continuously updating. So keep an eye on that. I see state of the game roadmap. This is a little difficult right now, just because we obviously also just don't know exactly when we came back to the studio, for example, and how many resources we have. While we had Yannick on with no picture, or with no webcam, it also depends on like how comfortable people are on these weird Discord setups that we're doing. So we don't have a proper timeline for you. If we have TU9.1 information next week ready, that will be the topic of the next week. And again, raid and anything like big balance changes, we definitely want to give you at least like 2 weeks a heads up. And then we would also have, as Hamish said, Bruce on, or Mackenzie, or whoever is ready to talk about some of the changes.
Yeah, I saw a question here from Andre1473 saying, it feels like you guys are avoiding the NPC's damage output fix. That's not a question, sorry, a statement. But we are talking about those things internally as well. So, when we have news on any potential changes coming to those sorts of things in terms of NPCs, we will let you know. I know Chris is already digging up as much information as he possibly can for future shows. So we will definitely do that.
Yeah. One thing that I also just saw, last question from my side, is something about more outfits in the collection that one doesn't show. I don't know. Like, I just straight up don't know what that looks like. Apparel information, I'm getting that normally when it goes into the game. So there will be some placeholder slots because otherwise you would then again have to do a client update to get those placeholders in or that outfits in. This way, and I might be wrong, but this way, when we have a placeholder, they can just like patch in the apparel itself without having to update the UI. That means we can put it in when it's ready. But I don't have any current information about new things.
Cool. I've been told to take my hat off because I'm not a Yankees fan, but now people have to be dealt with. Now I need a haircut. So thanks, Guy, for ousting my quarantine problems.
It looks really cute, though, I have to say. And very fluffy and like soft. So well done on your hair care.
I washed it. You have a big head, Hamish. Only 2 snaps. It's true. That's the biggest possible hat you can get, and almost on the biggest possible setting. My head is stupid. Stupid big. So. All right. Well, that's where we're at. Can we see the dog? No, she's not in here. That's not happening today. Hamish, put the hat back on. No, you can blame chat.
Yes.
You can blame chat. Yeah, Mick Warrior says, Hamish, we all need a haircut. This is true. It's just where we're at. Just quarantine things. All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming by today. We appreciate it. We know that, there's going to be more to talk about in coming weeks, and we definitely want to get as much information out as we can. Chris, anything else? Or I'm gonna call it there. We did half an hour, so yeah.
That's it from my side. Again, keep sending us feedback and everything on the platforms of your choice. We read all of it. We have a lot of time to read right now, so we do that. And as always, stay safe. Wash your hands. I hope everybody who's watching has not been affected, and that all of your friends and family is safe as well. So thank you again for tuning in.
Yeah, it is a hard time for a lot of people. So if you can enjoy things like the awesomeness of video games, I think that's a pretty positive thing you can latch onto. So go and get it. Games are fun. All right, we'll see you again next week. Enjoy some. I have some agent. Oh, I do have some division photos. Yes, awesome. We'll catch you again next week. All right.
Yes.
Have a good one.
Peace out.
Bye.